Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. I want to welcome all of you back to this program today. Another special program that I'm having with someone that you already are familiar with. He's one of the presidential candidates for the post of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And there are three of them. I've had about 12 people go through me, but I chose three of them to be exceptional that I want to continue the conversation with. And one of these three people that I want to continue the conversation with is the gentleman that is with me here today, because he has a strength that I've not seen in any of the 12 other candidates that have passed through me. And I don't think there is any other presidential candidate out there that has the strength that this gentleman has. I wanted to buy his book so that I could quote from his books. From his book, and show you some of the things that I saw in the something. But but I have the brochure. Even though I don't have the book, I wanted to really read the book to see the details of some of the things is highlighted here. Because some of the things is highlighted here, I needed some more information before I could judge it. But even just going from the amount of ideas and the way of thinking, you could see that this person is a reader and a thinker, someone that is dynamic in thoughts. And some people might argue with some of those points that he's making, but even the possibility of coming up with so many of these ideas, let me tell you what, there is none of the presidential candidates that I've seen with so many ideas, dynamic ideas, as Tope Fasua. Tope Fasua is the person I'm having today. So, you have another, he's an economist, but you have other economists like Kingsley Moghalu that I really respect. And I think that he's one of the people I'm inviting back, Kingsley Moghalu and Showore. But none of them has got the strength of this man. I personally will campaign that anybody who becomes president should try to bring in Tope Fasua as at least, in Nigeria, they don't have this system like in the UK or in France or like here or in Germany. In this part of the world, we have what we call prime minister, vice prime minister, and things like that. But in Nigeria, we don't have something like that. But Tope Fasua would be somebody that would be ideal, or vice prime minister, someone like that, somebody who could be in charge of the economy. I think people who have that, I think what they call that in Nigeria is vice president. But what the vice president is doing in Nigeria is just coordinating it. But this person here could actually set up systems to be able to make the Nigerian economy flourish. When I discussed with him the last time, we didn't go into too much details. What I really wanted to discuss more with him was how he was going to make Nigeria economy grow by 15% annually, which he highlighted in his plan, which, it could be argued, but even if we don't achieve 15% annually, and the revenue target that he's talking about, because he's talking about 40 trillion revenue a year. So that is like $110 billion, $110 billion a year. I mean, some of these things look mind-blowing because $110 billion a year, that is 1/5 of our whole GDP, 20% of our whole GDP. The whole GDP of Nigeria, the whole economy is 500 billion. And then he is talking about 100 billion a year. How do we bring in 100 billion a year? We started to talk about it and he only mentioned one. I think he only spoke about tax that time, corporate tax or something. But I really want him to break it down for us because here I have the company income taxes, petroleum profit taxes, royalties, bonuses, and signing fees, solid minerals, VAT, CGT, capital gains taxes, and other things that he has enumerated. And he's actually mentioning the amount of money that each of these, each of these things could bring in for the economy. That is where I would like to start my discussion with him because I read the book of I've not read the book of Tope Fasua, but I've read the book of Kingsley. The book of Kingsley is 300-page book, about how he plans to revamp Nigeria. But let me tell you what, just the brochure of Tope Fasua is making more sense and it's like having 100 times idea more than the whole book, 300-page book of Kingsley that I've read. And I've not even seen any book or any brochure from Showore. I saw, some points, but those are just like campaign slogans. So, but I'm still going to bring both Showore back and Kingsley back. But anybody who will be the president of Nigeria will need to talk to this man. And I'm going to campaign for him, vigorously, that his ideas must be considered. Hello, Mr. Tope Fasua. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pastor. I'm overwhelmed by the words that you have said and if you like, the accolades that you have given. I hope I deserve it. I'm a humble person. I'm a regular Joe, but I'm just a passionate regular Joe.
You must be a hard worker. It's like you are a hard worker or at least a hard reader because your country must. I'm a very detailed person. I like quality. And I have written a book myself on the economy, Nigeria economy, the way forward. I don't think I sent you that book. But your ideas are absolutely revolutionary. I believe that my ideas are revolutionary too. And the things I have there, I have not seen them in your place here. But you are very, very vast, much more detailed and much more concrete, much more, very, very on-ground kind of proposal. Like, for example, let me compare this to Kingsley's work. I read Kingsley's book, but Kingsley's book are ideas from World Bank, ideas from IMF, ideas from Yale, ideas from, from these institutionalized international institutions, things that have been done in other places. But the way you are approaching your own, even if when you have ideas from other places, you modernize them to fit Nigerian situation. And you put them in a way that it works for us. And it's very easy to see that your ideas are practicable. So, so I'm fascinated by your thinking process. And I want to get more into your mind. And I want Nigerians to be exposed to your mind, to the way your mind works. And I want the Nigerian society to know that you are an asset that the whole country need to pay attention to.
Thank you very much. I got a bit overwhelmed there. So I'll try and keep my mind off the accolades that you have given me initially. And I thank you for that. I'm a regular Joe. I'm just a passionate regular Joe who is trying to make a difference, given the time that God has given all of us in this earth. I don't know if there's another world that we are going to wake up in at some other point in time, but this singular one that we're aware of, at least, I believe that our whole goal is to ensure that that we do our best to make the world a better place. And we so happen to be born, I happen to be born into a country with so much problem, with a lot of mediocrity, with a lot of underachievement. And sometimes it seems like even those who should know better, they are also suffering from that cognitive dissonance right now, the sort of cognitive bias in terms of not even being able to imagine that this place could be better than it is right now. We have a problem where a lot of people who believe that they have the money or they have the advantage now simply want to keep the advantage that they have. However, what that shows is also that the people have small dreams in this place. That's the truth. And I think that God is also looking for those who can come with a bigger vision for the people of this country. If we have a people of 180 million and only maybe about 80 million of them are living like human beings, the remaining 100 million are feeding from hand to mouth with no ambition, no place to go, with no bearing on their lives and nothing to look forward to.
Hello? We don't want him to disappear. We really need him to be there. Hello, are you there? Okay, you are speaking. Can you repeat your last statement? We didn't hear your last sentence. Hello?
Okay, yes. Now we're saying that I believe that our country is actually in the throes of mediocrity and underachievement, and there are a lot of people who believe they are made, but they don't understand that that we can do a whole lot more, and that where this country is right now is embarrassing to humanity, where we have about a country of 180 million, maybe not more than 90 million or so of them are able to even feed, and the rest of them are basically just moving all over the space. And this also brings a lot of opprobrium to us as a people, because we are being judged by our inability to manage and organize ourselves. Even many of the developments that go on here are actually facilitated and caused by foreigners. For example, the developments in technology in our oil sector and all of that, we don't have that originality. And I think that we have not also been taught the originality of understanding that at the end of the day, we will have to do things for ourselves. So those are the things that drive my thinking, in intervening and bringing my ideas to the fore and putting my ideas together. Before now, I've been working, and then I've been a writer. I think maybe I'm gifted with the ability to envision things and to think properly, and also to be able to write them down and also to speak about them. So perhaps that is my gift. Sometimes if one has a gift, you may not even know, but maybe consistently over time, saying something in a certain way, perhaps you may, at the risk of suffering from hubris, and that is something that I don't do. I will never be able to thumping my chest and saying I've arrived. It's never going to happen. But to some extent, I think I must thank God that I'm able to envision this thing. So you mentioned the vision I have for a better budget for this country. But let me quickly let you know, Sir Pastor, having 20% of our GDP as our budget is not a big achievement. Are you there, sir? Can you hear me?
Very well, very much so.
Budgeting 20% of our GDP is not a big achievement. As a matter of fact, if my figures are right, South Africa is budgeting 155 billion this year. South Africa's GDP is maybe around 350 billion. So they are budgeting almost 50% of their GDP. Angola's revenue this year is about 50% of their GDP as a country. As a matter of fact, Nigeria has one of the lowest budget to GDP ratios in the world. Not only revenue to GDP, that's what we don't understand. Of course, your budget is driven by your revenue. So why would we say that we have the biggest economy in Africa, the biggest GDP in Africa, when we're unable to drive a budget that will now dovetail into the lives of the people of this country that is anything near the GDP? So this year now we're running a budget of 9 trillion, and we claim to have a GDP of 450 billion or thereabout. And if we look at it in that manner, 9 over 450 is only 1/50, and that is like 2%. So why are we running 2% of our GDP as budget? That means it's a look. What is going on in Nigeria is a criminal thing, and I assure you, sir, I'm going to take up the government on it. I tell people I don't need to go and sit in their house or rock. I don't need it. And in fact, when you look at that stuff, it's as if the place is cursed so that anybody who goes there will continue to misstep. Perhaps the best achievement that we're going to make will be when we're out of the place. We don't have to go there to sit because they are always misstepping. Someone like Ruben Abati wrote as much that there were spirits that were walking on their heads in the place. Whatever it is, I don't believe in some of those things, but he wrote as much. So it seems like, we put our hope in many people to go there, and they go there and begin to misbehave, and sometimes you can't explain why. But so some of the best ideas we can offer from outside. And anybody that can use it and take it, I don't mind if anybody takes my idea and uses it. But so to a large extent, that is it.
Mr. Fasua, let's discuss this. I think there is an explanation, and people can render explanation, and I think we should think it through together with you. The explanation why we are only having about 2% of our GDP as budget. I can explain that. I think from my own perspective, I think the explanation is quite simple. We don't have an economy that is generating concurrent income apart from our oil. The stable income that we are generating is coming from the oil. Now, and you know for sure that Nigeria is not a tax economy. How much people pay tax in Nigeria? 5%? Only 5% or so, or less than 5% pay tax. Unlike in this country where we are right now, 90% of the economy is sustained by the tax, just like any other country in the world. So for us to fix that, I don't know why the government is not. I think people who say that we are caused because of the oil, that the oil is a cost to us, I think that might be the case because we are only focusing on the income that is coming from the oil. And that is the only one we are budgeting because that is the one we can guarantee. And all other, we don't have industry. So how many industries do we have? Some of them don't even pay tax. People, maybe only Dangote and NMPC and a few others, all others. So there is nothing to rely on. So if there is no income coming from the private sector big enough, and then there is no tax coming in, and we are not exporting anything apart from oil. So I can understand the government, that the government is only budgeting, 2%, because that is what is coming in. Now, but what I am surprised about with them, and while I will vote and fight for someone like you to take up affairs of Nigeria, is that they are not fighting to generate. They are mainly fighting to distribute. So the government of Nigeria so far, what they do mainly is to distribute. And, the reason why I personally was very sad that the other finance minister resigned is because even though she's not fighting to generate income, but at least she is trying to economize, and she's trying to, to close the loopholes. She is one of the most effective finance ministers who has done that so far. But what we are supposed to have, the people we are supposed to have in government are people, like they said, the vice president is in charge of economy. But I'm sure, he's my friend, and I'm sure that he is not coming up with ideas of how to generate income. But that is what you've got. I've never seen a Nigerian minister telling us structure of how to generate income. Personally, let me tell you what. I personally have said, by the time I get back to Nigeria, I'm going to campaign that no governor should be elected in any of the states unless he could tell us that he is going to generate this amount of money every year from his state economy without going to Abuja. Yes, anything he gets from Abuja, from allocation, will just be an addition. But why do you want to go there? What do you want to go there and do if you are not going to generate money? You just want to go there and distribute and take money from Abuja all the time? So I personally I'm going to campaign that if anybody wants to be a governor, he must tell us how much and how he's going to generate how much in a year. The same thing with the president. The way you have written your program, that is the way we are supposed to be demanding from our president to write their program. How much income are you going to generate for Nigeria? Nobody is doing that. Not Buhari, not APC, not PDP, not Showore, not Kings, not anybody. Nobody is writing a program like yours, whereby you tell us, I'm going to generate this amount, and this is the way I'm going to do it. Everybody is going to the government trying to say that they are going to manage the country well. We don't just want managers now. We are in a dire situation. We want people to generate, not just to manage. But everybody is talking about managing. We are going to remove the corrupt people. We are going to stop corruption. We are going to do this. We are going to manage. We don't have anything to manage right now. We are in a bad state. That is the thing that we need to talk to our people about. And that is what I see in your program that is totally different from all other programs that I've seen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Sunday. And that's very...
Okay. We need to get his voice back. We can't hear you. We can't hear you right now, but we really need to hear your response. Hello? Hello? No, I couldn't hear anything you... Okay, now I'm hearing you again. Please, you have to start all over again. I didn't hear anything you said. Hello? Can you start all over again? Can you start all over again? I didn't hear anything you said. Go ahead, please.
There are many things in what you said, your statement just now. In my view, then we have to come into leadership to tell you, don't worry, I'm going to find the right person and put them everywhere. But how do you recognize the right persons? Sit down and articulate their thoughts. It's going to be something you do over time. Like I support you to say that anybody coming to leadership position should be telling us how they will generate money and how they intend to spend the money that they will generate, and if there's going to be any savings. That is the fundamental work of this leadership. It's not just about personality. People are trying to leverage on their personality, okay, and all that, but it's not enough. We're in a dire situation. So to a large extent, Kemi was also okay. She was okay. For me, I think she was just okay. She tried to move the things around a bit, but number one, only one person cannot be the major star of a government. Number two, yeah, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, number two is to say, I even had cause to interact with her at some point, and there was a day she was saying that if we introduce inheritance taxes, you know what people are going to say, and I disagreed with her because inheritance taxes are part of the statute of Nigerian taxation, and you know I don't see why you will be afraid of introducing a tax that the law books have said that you can introduce. So when you talk about taxation and are not getting enough taxes, it's because of one critical point, one critical issue, that our elites are into the business of protecting themselves. And they are not ready to do the right thing. They're not ready to live by example. The moment they live by example and they're ready to stop all this idea of self-protection, there's a lot of taxes that we can collect. There's a lot of revenue that we can generate. I believe strongly that one way or the other, this country is losing so much revenue. And the revenue that we're losing, we must go and look for that revenue. I'm going to talk about a number of things. You know, the Inland Revenue Service, you know, they did a program called V8, and that's Voluntary Asset and Income Declaration Scheme or something. V8, and they were meant to collect 350 billion naira as income, which is like over maybe about $1 billion was the target or so. However, they did not get more than 10% of that amount, and you know I felt that it was too premature. So it's just a country is not used to paying taxes. You are saying you are giving them a 6-month or 9 months moratorium or open window for you to come and pay your taxes. No, what you have to first do is to enforce the payment of taxes. When you now enforce it up to a certain point and you know that the people of the country are used to paying taxes, you can now give the rest of the people who have not declared their taxes a certain amount of time. But that's what we do in this country. We will always put the cart before the horse. We will always go on flights of fancy and do projects that are going to nowhere. And of course, that project now has not brought out the returns that it should bring for the country. So again, but recently, and I'm going to the area now where we should talk about how the country can generate the money. Recently, the Inland Revenue Service chairman said that they have found almost 6,800 billionaires in Nigeria. People who have more than 1 billion in their account, and they have never paid any taxes to the government of this country.
6,000.
6,800, if I remember. I'm going to give it now. You know, and please let Bob Ashia know that I sent something to this. I sent 2 slides or two pictures to this Facebook this account right now, which I would want you to see if there's a way they can extract it as picture.
Okay, we have them already.
The kind of breakdown of some things that I've been working on. So and it's very ridiculous. So 6,800 billionaires who are not paying 1 naira to Nigeria, and they have more than 1 billion in their account. So can someone get away with that in Ukraine or Russia or in
No
UK
way, you will be in prison forever.
The problem Nigeria has is hubris and impunity. This idea of nobody can catch me. Until the day the elites of this country are ready to do the right thing, we will not move anywhere. We will not move an inch. They will do all sorts of things. So Kemi, what she did on her own, but she was basically an ineffectual person as far as I'm concerned, because she couldn't have achieved anything because she wasn't empowered to achieve. All right, and of course she did the little bookkeeping that she could keep within her whatever. But that tells you is a metaphor to the underachievement of this government. So that is the best kind of person that we can find. And of course, she knew that she was working with a fake certificate thing. So I don't actually pity her that much. I'm sorry. So now let's talk about where we can get the money, sir. I'm just leaving
the page. Can you show us the paper, the document? You are getting, they are downloading. Okay, they are still downloading it. I like what you said about the elite. Do you know that I wrote a book to address that situation about the elite in Nigeria? It's called The Role of the Elite in National Transformation. If we don't fix the mind of our elite, even religious elite, or anybody that is successful in Nigeria is seeing it as an achievement and as something to do for bravado. But really, elitism and any position of success is a privilege to use to serve. And until our people understand that and we're able to change their mindset and the popularity, and the mentality of our people in that regard, you know, we would never be able to get them to pay tax, for example.
Exactly. Now, part of the reason why people are not also paying, the major reason is that the people do not trust the government. And the people don't trust the government because they see the choices that people make of their money. Okay? Just as I'm talking to you yesterday, the ADC to the wife of the president, okay, was arrested because they found 2.5 billion naira in his account. He's just a policeman that stands at the back of the lady, the first lady, and this is supposed to be in a country that in a regime that says they are fighting anti-corruption. But the ADC of the wife of the president collected 2.5 billion from people, put it in his account, he's spending it how he likes. So who knows how much the ADC of the real president will collect or have collected. So it's a joke. And you see people steal money that they can't even spend. What is a policeman who is maybe like a chief inspector or maybe a superintendent of police doing with 2.5 billion naira? Sir, that's why you will see in my brochure that as much as I've talked about economic issues, financial issues, I also address the philosophy of the country. Sir, you know, we are not going to achieve economic progress except we find behavioral change. Behavioral change is going to play a major aspect, a major part in our economic progress. All right, so if we are saying, for example, that we want people to, for example, now, somebody was asking me the other day, how can we strengthen the Naira? And I said, look, the only way to strengthen the Naira through market forces is to, first of all, ensure that the basics of life are cheap in Nigeria. So if government has to incentivize those who are producing food, producing shelter, producing clothing, All right, these three things at least. All right, if you can ensure that it's cheap, such that you can buy anything you want for 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira, you don't have to do for 10,000 naira. Then the next thing you will then have to do in order to achieve result is to appeal to people's mind using different kind of behavioral change approaches to let them know that in life, that is all that matters. So long as you can feed yourself, you can clothe yourself, and you can house yourself. And so things like, every weekend, people go out, they spend billions of naira spent on Owambe just to sing at parties and cook rice and waste most of the food in a country that is begging Europe for aids and intervention. All right, so you cannot achieve economic progress except to achieve behavioral change. Right now, I even have a problem with people who talk about entrepreneurship. And in Nigeria now, everybody's talking entrepreneurship, and we're wiring our youth, knowingly or unknowingly. We're wiring them to begin to feel that they should not do anything except they are making profit. However, no matter how entrepreneurial you want to get, you still need people to be teachers in the villages. We need nurses, we need firemen, we need policemen, we need public services. So the basis of human existence is the establishment of those public services called public goods. It is after you have established a certain minimum standard of living for your people by deploying government services even to the remotest village. That is when you can now begin to talk of, okay, let everybody go and be entrepreneur.
Yeah, that is also one of the things you mentioned in your program, that we must emphasize the dignity of labor, which is right now absent. The only thing that is in Nigeria is quick fix, instant gratification instead of dignity of labor. So we right now don't have any dignity for labor. The only dignity is for profit, rather so. Go ahead, sir. Yes, find my book, Dignity of Labor. I have a book on that. Sure.
We have to find a way. Look, we need to still be able to get our youth to do things for Nigeria for free. There's no way we can all be looking for elusive profit. Life is not all about money. It's because of that is why Aisha Buhari's ADC is collecting 2.5 billion naira from people. How close do you want to get to the so-called anti-corruption president than an ADC that's standing behind your wife and collecting money from everybody who wants to see your wife? And there's no way you can tell me that his own ADC has not been collecting money. Even all of them, they know about all of these things. The deception is the really biggest problem of this very government. They deceive people a lot. But anyway, having said that, I'm saying, how do we find money? Number one, the 6,800 billionaires, they should go and look for how to collect our money from those people. We don't care how they're going to do it. It should be part of our budget. The taxes that are due from those people. Okay, number two, the petroleum sector that I'm talking about. There's a petroleum industry bill that's been moving around since the past 17 years.
Yes.
We don't know how far we are. But you see, the reason why our budget is $25 billion, which is 9.1 trillion, divided by 360 naira to $1. Okay, that is $25.2 billion. The reason why our budget is $25 billion and Angola's budget is $47 billion, okay, is because in Angola they managed to get their petroleum laws right. I don't know if I told you the last time, what they call the product sharing contract. Product sharing there are two types of contract in the oil sector. The first one is called the joint venture. That joint venture, you will bring money, I will bring money. Then you go and produce. But that was what Nigeria has been using. As of 1998, joint venture operation was producing 97% of our crude oil. Then, when this Minister Kachiku came now, the man, of course, he has been immobile. Nigeria has been owing money on joint venture since forever. Up to now, I think they're still owing. Every time we would ask the international company to go and produce crude oil, but we will not give them our own counterpart funding. That is an irresponsible partnership. So now they said, let us move into what they call production sharing. Now, production sharing says that the international oil company will use their money to finance whatever they want to finance. Then after they finish producing, we will share the profit. They will recover their cost. They will recover the taxes. Then we'll share it. But you see, number one, the white man is more wiser than us. We think we are smart. They should use their money. So for several years, we did not get anything from those contracts. Because these are the people who have the technical know-how. They are the people who have the intelligence. And so it's whatever they declare that they declare. In 1993, Abacha signed some petroleum sharing contract, product sharing contract with some few oil companies. In 1993, as at that 1993, Nigeria was under sanction from the West. So it was very difficult. So Abacha was ready to sign any deal with them. In that deal that he signed, there were three clauses. The first clause says that this contract will be reviewed if crude oil prices pass $20 per barrel. As at that time, crude oil was selling for $9, $10, $11. He said if this thing goes beyond $20 a barrel, we will review this contract. Because at that time, they never even imagined that crude oil price would go beyond $20. Number two, he said that anything they drill that is beneath 1,000 meters, if you are drilling now, anything beyond 1,000 meters, which is 1 kilometer into the ground, and further, you will not pay Nigeria any royalty. Number three, that if you discover, deposits that is more than 500 million cubic meters, we will review this contract. Number four, indeed, that whatever may happen in 15 years, we must review this contract and look at this current scenario. As I'm talking to you, 1993 to date, that is 25 years or so, okay, or 25 years. Up to now, those contracts have not been reviewed. Nigeria is not, and all of the international oil companies, they've now moved deep sea. They sold their onshore asset, their marginal asset, their their shallow water assets. They moved deep sea, and in deep sea, they are talking of 2,000, 3,000 meters into the ground. They are drilling. Nigeria is not getting 1 naira in royalty from those people as I'm talking to you. And people have been raising this question, including Femi Falana and other people. The government has deliberately ignored them. Even the minister of the Attorney General is one of the people that are saying that there's no problem. No, just leave it like that. And Mr. Buhari is also the minister of petroleum. So between himself and the Attorney General, they are ensuring that Nigerians are not getting what is due to us from those petroleum sharing, product sharing contract. Those are the ways that Nigeria should be making money. That were deliberately, again, I tell you, sir, that it is not a big deal if we are budgeting 20% of our GDP. Most Nigerians, I'm sorry, we have become mental, we are suffering from mental block now. I was discussing with a few banker friends, top bankers, a few weeks ago. Top bankers, I'm talking of MDs of banks. And they were laughing when I was telling them, I said, we should be budgeting something better than this. They said, where are you going to find the money? Because they are sitting on money, they think that they have arrived. But you're just local champions. Okay, and I'm telling them.
I think I don't know, we lost him, but we have his papers. By the way, if you people have not read that Dignity of Labor, do you have the book Dignity of Labor? That is one of the answers to Nigeria problem. But we lost Mr. Fasua. I think he's back. I think we have his paper now. We have his document. Hello, Mr. Fasua, are you back? We have your document. Do you want us to show the papers you sent to us? Or not yet?
I'll explain it to you.
Okay. Can you display the document? Show it full screen so that people at home will be able to see. I think there are 2 documents, right? He sent. Show them one by one.
By confidence, this weekend I'll be calling like a press conference to explain some of these things.
Full screen. Full screen. So that it will be more visible. Nas nina da packaging upon the ekran. Yeah, that's it. So we have one. We have one on the screen. I don't know if you can see which one we have.
I can't see it. I can't see it. I can see only you. I'm seeing you.
Oh, okay. I'm going to show you what we have. What we have is the one. What is the top? What's on top? The Nigerians, like 2018 federal budget, approximate state budget, and all that. That's what we have here. The value cost in naira, value cost in US dollars, how many barrels of crude oil. That's what we have.
Yes. That one, though it's not showing on the screen. I don't know why. I can't see it though. But I'm seeing your chair. That's what I'm seeing. But that one, I actually use it to.
Or do you want us to show the second one first?
Anyone that shows, I can explain.
Okay, we are showing the one. The first one is the one we are showing now.
Okay, I can't. It's only your chair I'm seeing. I don't know.
Yeah, because you don't have the. You are not on the Facebook. You are just
I'm
with
not
me.
on
Yeah.
Facebook. Okay, so let me say that. So which one do you have now? The one
with the naira, the value cost in naira, value cost in US dollars. Okay. How many?
Yeah, let me explain that one. So it occurred to me that we are focused too much on crude oil in this country. And as I just explained to you, I said we are not getting most of the income we should get on our production. We are not getting because we don't own the technical ability to drill that crude oil. As a matter of fact, NEITI, the Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative.
Okay, I think it is called why the accounts cannot balance, right?
The accounts cannot balance. It's true. NEITI is the government agency in charge of regulating some of that industry. They said, according to NEITI, between 2015 and 2017, Nigeria made $104 billion on crude oil. However, the one that was due to Nigeria itself, Nigeria as a country, is $38 billion. The rest was for the Shell and Chevron and Mobil and Texaco and all of those people. Because they own it, they own that process, they own the technology, they own the money that was invested in it. So Nigeria only got 38 billion. So I'm trying now to let Nigerians know that our dependence on crude oil is a foolish thing. Number two, that our excesses and profligacy, it is a devilish thing to do. This is a country where, they don't mind, they can use all that money to buy big official cars for themselves in government. So I now broke it down, each thing that we're spending on, how many barrels of crude do we need? For example, I remember, though I don't have it in front of me now, that for debt servicing alone, debt servicing in 2018 budget, which is like we intend to use about 2.247 trillion naira for debt servicing this year, we need 82 million barrels of crude oil. And how did I do that? All I did was 2.2 trillion divided by 350 or 357 or thereabout, which is to the dollar, then further divided by $75 to the barrel. To know how many barrels of crude you have to sell. However, what I did not do, which would have made it a very dire situation, is I did not even bother to take the cost item out of it. I'm just saying this is how many barrels of crude oil you must sell and collect the money just to pay your debt servicing. This, I said, I remember 353 million barrels of crude oil is what we need, okay, to sell in order to fund that budget fully. 9.1 trillion divided by 357 divided further by $75, even though crude oil is selling at about $80 today, will give you 353 million barrels of crude oil. That's at the federal level. Then at the state level, I estimated 12 trillion naira as the budget done by every state in Nigeria. It could be a little bit more than that. But that will mean that we need another 500 million barrels of crude oil to fund all the states. So we need about 800 to 900 million barrels of crude oil. But we cannot produce more than 600 million barrels on the average. All right, so if you cannot produce more than 600 million, but out of that 600 million that we're producing, not more than 200 million plus is for Nigeria after taking out the share. If you look at the way that they are
but during the time of Jonathan, we were producing 800, 900.
No, before, no, we were producing, well, no, we never, well, we produced about 700 million, okay? We produced on a yearly basis, that 2015, 16, 17.
Yeah.
During the time of Jonathan, it was also around 600, 700 million. Things are still okay. We don't have many shutdowns right now. There aren't so many shutdowns of wells, and so there aren't so many.
The shutdowns were during Yaradua.
Exactly.
Yes.
That was when we went down to 800,000 barrels a day from instead of 2 million barrels a day,
Yes.
which we should have put via our OPEC quota.
But now so we are close to 200
million.
Huh?
We are close to 2 million now.
Yes.
Give or take, about 2 million plus, which is okay. And what I realized about that sector is that they are working Sunday, Saturday. They are working Sunday, Saturday. But truly, we don't have much input in that sector at all. Okay, it's a big joke. We don't have much input in that sector. We just show up and say, "Okay, where's our own share?" And they know, Oyibo man knows that you are not adding value. So it's going to cheat you. There's no big deal about it. So the solution to that, the solution to that, in my view, is that our universities and polytechnics, and that is, I think, my main solution that I'm bringing in as a presidential, to offer to them that until the day we're able to get our youth who are universities and polytechnics and give them projects in all of these sectors and encourage them to get practical and offer solutions in all of these sectors, and even let them make mistakes, let them do whatever they want to do, but encourage them that they are the ones that will solve the problem of this country, whether in the oil sector, in the agri sector, or especially in the power sector. We're not going anywhere. Our power problems will never be fixed by the importation of large power plants from wherever, power plants that we cannot maintain, that when they spoil, we have to go and buy another set, until the day we understand that it is our engineering students in the universities that have to go to all the nearest villages and begin to power those villages up you want to use with some incentive, until the day we understand that students in universities and polytechnics can be encouraged that even when they get into university and polytechnic, there are projects they can get involved in that they will earn money to even pay their own school fees and even more.
Yeah, but that is talking in the long terms. Well, let's talk about the second document you sent.
Yeah, the second document is actually the second document is actually about the budget for 2019. You know, I woke up on Monday last week only to realize that the federal government of Nigeria, they released what they call their fiscal paper or something, a fiscal paper, federal fiscal paper, in which they are telling us that in 2019 they will be budgeting less money for the Nigerian people than they are budgeting in 2018. 9.1 trillion is our budget this year. Many times they don't even bother to even affect some of those budgets. The moment they find enough money to steal and pocket, they forget the rest of the people. Number one. Number two, even there's very little in any budget for Nigerian people. Now they are saying with all temerity that in 2019 they will be budgeting 8.9 trillion, which means there'll be a reduction of 200 billion in the budget for 2019 as against this year. Now I'm an economist, and it is a sacrilege for you to budget less year on year in a country. Why? Because number one, inflation is increasing. Number two, the population is increasing. Inflation must always be considered. 8.9 trillion naira, which they are budgeting for Nigeria in the year 2019, 8.9 trillion, if you discount it at an inflation rate of about 30% on the average, I'm not talking of the current inflation, average over time, 13%, that money comes to 7.7 trillion in real value, what they call real terms in economics. Why would Nigeria be budgeting 9.1 trillion for 2018 and be budgeting 7.7 trillion naira in 2019? I'm asking them questions. And that 7.7 trillion naira has not taken into consideration the fact that population is increasing by 3% year on year, every year. So the government in Nigeria is telling us under Mr. Buhari that they don't have any plans for the people of this country. They don't have any dreams for the people of this country, because a budget is a dream. A budget is a projection. It is when the people sit down and say, okay, this is what we can do. A budget is the most important dream of a country on a yearly basis. So I'm taking them up and I'm challenging them that the only thing that will be acceptable to Nigeria next year is a budget of 15 trillion naira. 15 trillion naira. They should go and look for the money.
But Mr. Fasua, when you talk like that, that is what will make those bankers to laugh and think you are just, you know, you are just a, you are just.
They don't know what they're, they don't know what they're talking about.
Because they will think you are an extremist because
extremist in a good way, sir.
Yeah, extremist in a good way, but I understand them why they will consider you to be an extremist. It's because you are emphasizing the result. And they, being practical people who are who are doing the economy and hands-on, who are hands-on on daily basis, they know that they cannot just go ahead and budget something that is not existing. So that's why I mentioned in the beginning that we need a government and we need ministers who will be able to present to us plans of generation. And it is all about the generation. If there is no generation, there will be nothing to budget. And I understand why they are budgeting lower budget for next year than this year is because they are anticipating recession. They are afraid that because of the things that are going on, we are going to have more money or less money coming from oil. And that is the possibility because the alternative oil that is growing all over the world and then the oil that US is putting into the market, so they are only depending on the money that is coming from oil. And because they are not sure of the price of oil for next year, which might actually be reduced, so it's a good thing that they are budgeting less because they cannot control the price of oil. And so because if they budget too much and the price of oil collapses, then they are in much more bigger problem. They will have to go into debt. So the problem is that they are only depending on that little 25 billion that they are getting from oil. So they don't have any plan of generation. And that is where we need people like you, because that is where I don't even know what government is for if it's not for generation.
Thank you very much, but I will quickly debunk that, sir. First of all, please don't support them. They cannot reduce their plans for the people of Nigeria. I'm saying that our budget cannot drop from 9.1 trillion to 7.7 trillion. Okay, that is almost a 1.4 trillion drop in terms of plans, except we're saying that Nigeria is now on the reverse gear to Hades, that we're on the reverse gear to hell, and we should stand up and reject that. Okay, in terms of fund, I get your point in terms of whether it doesn't matter what their projections are. See, I've established to you now that number one, the reliance on crude oil is itself a wrong-headed idea. It's very, very wrong-headed, because if from the figures of Naiti, Nigeria got $38 billion in 3 years, 2015, 16, and 17, out of $104 billion, which was made by all the operation in that sector for that year, because the oil companies are a lot wiser than Nigeria. We think we are smart, but they are showing us they are smarter. Now, therefore, you can then extrapolate. You can extrapolate that Nigeria is getting about $13 billion every year only, and that $13 billion will be shared between the state, local government, and the federal government. Even if the federal government takes the majority of it, the federal government will not get more than $8 billion. How are they spending in NNPC? They are spending in NNPC like there's no tomorrow. The government is using NNPC as a slush fund. They dip their hand there, they spend anyhow that they like. This is the same country where we're talking of 350 people are owing AMCON 5.4 trillion naira. They're owing the banks. They owe banks anyhow because they have access to the MDs of the same MDs that I'm talking about. They go there, they take money anyhow, they spend it, the money never comes back to the system. The government will now tax taxpayers, take taxpayers' money and bail out the bank and say we don't want the bank to fail. Recently, it was one of the banks here. The government gave them 1.5 trillion naira as bailout between the CBN and the NDIC, without asking questions of Nigerians that should we use the money in this manner. You cannot use how can you give one bank 1.5 trillion naira, and then here we are arguing whether the whole of Nigeria can get to 7 trillion naira. We're talking of 180 million people here, vis-a-vis a single bank And the people who killed that bank, who ran the bank aground, they are walking around. They are still the big boys. They invite them to all the seminars. They give them doctoral awards. They give them all the chieftaincy title in town. 2019 is about change, and I'm a change agent. I'm here as a change catalyst. We'll make sure that by 2019 going forward, this country has to be enough of this nonsense already.
You know, I don't know. I'm going to tell somebody to send you my book, The Nigerian Economy, The Nigerian Economy, The Way Forward. You know, according to that, my book, I don't even advocate depending or generating money from raw materials. In my book about the Nigerian economy moving forward, I said that it is old school and old thinking that we should rely on oil, on, you know, other raw materials or whatever, mineral, whatever they call them. All this raw material, mineral dependency, it is old school. It is yesteryears. You know, we should be talking about futuristic ideas. So talking about futuristic ideas to grow our economy, I think the place we have to start from is with database.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So because right now in Nigeria, we have over 5 million companies, or is it 5 million? That are not even paying taxes. These are just the ones that they have discovered. The government themselves have discovered. 5 million. What about the ones that are not even discovered? What about the unofficial market and all that? So I think everything has to start with database. Database not just of Nigerians, but database of all the formal and informal economy. And from there, we could begin to talk about how to build a system of income generation that will not depend on solid minerals and raw materials.
Yeah, you see, sir, you know, like they say you can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. The issue of database are these side by side as we chase those who are winning us. The FRS is doing a lot of that now, and they've been able to grid information, and that's how they found out there are 6,800 people who are keeping billions in their account without paying 1 naira to the government. Now, the second thing will be how to bring those people in and say, guys, how much of taxes have you paid? How did you make this money? And all of that, which is a great thing. What I'm telling them now is that they have to move fast on that, because they have to have the sense of urgency and sense of responsibility to understand that those taxes are owed to every Nigerian. The taxes are not owed to FRS. The taxes are not owed to President Buhari. The taxes are owed to the Commonwealth. And even they must be careful how they spend. If you go to a government agency in Nigeria, you will weep, because you cannot see such a thing in Ukraine or in Russia. You cannot see such a thing anywhere in the world. You cannot see such a thing in America. You pass the so-called health insurance company, health insurance that's collecting money from people's accounts everywhere, you know, from people's salary. What you see, you can see like 100 SUVs in front of their. What are they doing with 100 SUVs? Why are we spending money? And that is why I converted all of those things to crude oil. Because if, you know, a phone, how much is crude oil? Crude oil at the end of the day at $80 times 300 naira. A barrel of crude oil is 24,000 naira. 1 barrel is 24,000 naira. $80 for 1 barrel. So $80, that is 24,000 naira. Many people are using phones that are worth 500,000. That is 25 barrels of crude oil you are carrying up and down. Just your phone. How many barrels of crude oil are we getting on a daily basis? 2 million. Out of that 2 million, only 800,000 is effectively our own. The remaining 1.2 million barrels belongs to the international company. Even these 800,000 barrels that we have to deduct the cost of production. The cost will now be limited to the amount we're using to run NNPC, run DPR, run NAPIMS, run all of these other companies. You know, at the end of the day, maybe if we are lucky, we get 500,000 barrels of crude oil every day. That is what this country is talking about.
Mr. Fasua, you are one of those people that criticize Buhari, you know, as being strong-handed or going after, you know, opponents and something. But I personally supported Buhari during the election against Jonathan. Why? Because I remember the Buhari of the 80s. I was in Nigeria in the 80s. I was in Nigeria when he was the president in the 80s. And he was doing exactly this kind of thing. He was very strong-handed. That is the kind of thing you're advocating now. So if Buhari will go to that kind of administration whereby he's persecuting, he can put all these people in jail. But you people, especially you people from Western Nigerians, you are Western Yoruba intellectuals, you are the ones who are going to be challenging him and saying that he's establishing dictatorship. People like Femi, Fani, something, Gani, whatever his name is. The people are just talking big grammar and not letting the guy perform. Then we will be talking about Singapore, like you talked about Singapore the last time. But what made Singapore who they are? Because of dictatorship. That guy, ruled the country for over 30 years, and he will not tolerate any nonsense. Up to now in Singapore, if you spit or if you chew chewing gum, you are going to pay for it until Nigeria has that kind of hard, heavy-handed, leadership. We will never have a breakthrough, because you yourself, you are saying that the elite, that they are the ones that are taking advantage of all our resources, and they are, because of the impunity that is there. And now some of these people that are complaining about the impunity are the ones also now criticizing Buhari, even though he has not done anything. As far as I'm concerned, Buhari is just docile. He's docile and dead. He's not doing anything. I expect Buhari to come back to the Buhari of 83, 84. That's the kind of Buhari we need. But if we get him to come back like that, are you not the people who are going to, Yoruba people, you intellectuals, you are the ones going to organize for him to be overthrown again?
Well, let me say this, Pastor Sunday. I'm not one of those who criticize him for being high-handed per se, even though we're now in a democracy. I'm not sure he can afford to be too...
because you are using the word democracy.
However,
they have tied the guy down because of the word democracy. People like that, Falana, you are talking about.
If he wants to move, he will move. Singapore is also a democracy one way or the other. Lee Kuan Yew's son is still there, and they are very high-handed. They are very strict. It's about discipline. I supported Buhari in 2015 because I thought he would bring discipline. I went, after 1984, when he came the first time, I was in Form 4. I was in Form 3 going to Form 4. Okay, and I attended an Army Comprehensive High School. I was in the high school there. Okay, so as at that time, I was very used to the I was used to the army. Army was all around me. So I actually believed so much in him. And in those days, I remember then that I could see people were more disciplined on the street. I liked what I was seeing. Invariably, people said it was Sidi Agma that did it. So maybe it's Sidi Agma because, like you rightly identified, I said his wife's ADC collected 2.5 billion into his account. That means if the man cannot be effective at the level of his wife's ADC or his own ADC, where will he be effective? Is it in Nigeria? Like you rightly noted, the man can go after these people. He has refused to go after them. They will talk all sorts of grammar all over the place. The man is not ready. Even this petroleum sharing contract that I'm telling you about, that should be reviewed. Mr. Buhari is the petroleum minister. He's the one that is refusing to review those contracts as we speak. So it's either they don't love the people of this country, or one way or the other they have been compromised by the people who have the money.
I still want to believe that the situation with Buhari, he has done it before, and I think the thing that is happening is because of the word democracy. He's trying to prove to all Nigerians, to all you people intellectuals, that he is a Democrat. And you are just saying democracy right now. People like that Falana you spoke about, are they not the ones criticizing without even him doing anything?
If the man was a man of action, he would do so many things that all the Falanas of this world, they would get tired pursuing you. If you reform one sector and reform the other, even they will have to keep quiet at some point because they will see the real value that you are creating. It's because he's too slow that he gives all the Falana and co the opportunity. Okay, now look at this one. Now, this petroleum thing that we're talking about is a beneficial thing to the country, to everybody. If Falana goes after him for that, I support Falana to go after him if that's what it takes for him to reform this petroleum sector and review this contract that we have signed since 1993. This is the same man that will come and tell you how he doesn't believe that Abacha was corrupt. Meanwhile, we are collecting Abacha loot everywhere, And they are even saying that they are sharing the money to people in the streets. What gave him the authority to be sharing the money to people on the streets? You know, so look, what we have seen a lot of deception and a lot of fraud in this government. There's something called Paris Club Reform. And that Paris Club Reform, I was hearing it, Paris Club Reform, Paris Club Reform. They said they are giving state Paris Club Reform. You know, it took me a while for me to begin to do the research. And I went and did the research. If anybody hears Paris Club Reform, you would think, oh, Paris Club is giving us some money back. Oh, that was good, you know. Then I went on the Paris Club website. They are not refunding anybody any money. Invariably, what is called Paris Club Reform is that the federal government is giving state money out of hand, because the states are claiming that in the 1970s and 1980s or 1990s that there were some deductions they made from their account at that time, and so when Paris Club now cancelled our debt, there's some money they should have given them back. Obasanjo refused to listen to them. Yar'Adua refused to listen to them. Jonathan refused to listen to them for 5 years. Mr. Buhari started to pay the states. The state governor, one of them in the north of Nigeria, went and used the money to build a hotel in Lagos. And as 500 million or 500 something, that he built a hotel in Lagos, and he was telling his people when they were dying from meningitis or something, he said it's their sexual sins that are too many. Meanwhile, you are building a hotel in Lagos.
But so, to be fair to Buhari though, by the time he came in, 2/3 of the states were owing salaries. And it is because of the salaries that he is releasing the money for the people to pay their state workers' salaries.
You don't reward fraud, sir. Never reward fraud. The governors, a lot of them, most of them are fraudulent. Never reward fraud.
But at the end of the day, who is suffering? Ordinary Nigerians are suffering, not getting salary. I agree that you have to prosecute the governors, but you just still have to pay the workers.
Most of the money released to them were embezzled by the government of those states. Right now, last week before the election, they released 16 billion naira for state, and that was meant for them to go and pay for their party. And as it is right now, it's as if the party will lose the election. Now, then, Benue State, because the guy crossed over from PDP to APC to PDP, the one that they have paid them 16 or another 16 billion or something like that, they withdrew that one from him. So, look, you cannot reward fraud. Most of the governors are not straight. Okay? You don't give them money on any pretext. Why can't the government, the federal government themselves, can devise means of making sure they pay those salaries on their own? They cannot leave it to the discretion of the government. I remember Fayose was saying then that the federal government has no right to tell him how to spend the money. He may decide not to pay the workers. As I'm talking to you, more than 2/3 of the state are still owing workers. As I'm talking to you, they are owing workers, they are owing pensioners. But you see them on the street. You see I'm telling you, a bloody ADC collects 2.5 billion. Should we not be on the street protesting right now?
No, but to be fair, the ADC has been arrested already now. So you have to be fair to the end.
Do we know how much he collected and how much is being? This is the government where there's total opacity and no information is going out on anything. All right, the basis of calculation of this so-called Paris Club Reform is unknown to anybody, and this is our money, sir. Let me give you this analogy. These were monies deducted, so-called, supposedly in 1980s, 1990s, early 2000. Then we were given debt cancellation in 2006. The states are saying that they collected excess money from their account. Give us the money. These were monies that were deducted, even if at all. There were more than 7 different military governments and civilian governments in those states within this period. How can we give the money to one governor and say spend it immediately? Why can you not spread it over time? Why are the governors not asked to report that money to their people and let the people decide how to spend the money? Because all of us, all the citizens of those states or the residents of the state were deprived of that money as at that time. Equally for Abacha loot. Abacha stole from the whole of Nigeria. A certain Buhari who said it is his boss and that the man did not do anything wrong in this country does not have the right to singularly sit down and spend the money in 1 year. It is Abacha loot. He stole from the whole of Nigeria. Nigeria should be debating whether we want to spread that money over the next 20 years. Buhari doesn't have a right to go and be giving people and say, oh, we have given people 5,000 naira on the street. We give them 10,000 naira in the market. It is fraud. And all of these things will be revisited one day or the other. So I was talking about how to make money, sir. You know, because now, and part of it, I mentioned the issue of AMCON. There's this thing called AMCON. Banks are owing money. They will just gather the money and put it in one, and then use taxpayers' money to transfer money to the banks and zero those accounts in those banks. But as I'm talking to you, the moment you do that one, the people, they go back to those banks and collect money again. We are serving these people. It's as if we were created to come and be slaves to a few people in this country. And this is not acceptable. And I mentioned also the 1.5 million, you know. So, but I think what we should understand is that when we're talking about revenue in Nigeria, we should begin to take our mind off oil and gas. As a matter of fact, we are more a gas country than an oil country. We have about 300 trillion cubic, feet or meter
yes,
of gas in this country, unexplored. Okay, and it's only recently that they are even moving towards ending gas flaring in Nigeria. You know, but be that as it may, we need to begin to think in terms of reorganizing society so that the money will come out. I told you, I don't know if I made that example the last time I was with you. That was the only economic summit that was organized by APC after they won the election in 2015. Before they got into government proper, they were still waiting the transition period. You know, they did an economic summit, and I was there. And at plenary, they asked a lady, a white woman. She signified to ask a question, and when they asked her, they said, yeah. She said, all the professors that came, Nigerian professors that came from all over the world, they had been discussing about how to diversify the economy, and you know, and every time they discuss, they will say, well, but we don't know how to fund the budget. We don't know how to find the money. We don't know how to find the money. And this lady asked only one question. She said, I've been to a few countries in my time. This is the only country that I've been where nobody gets fined for overspeeding. How then do you intend to fund your budget? And she sat down. Of course, our people didn't understand the essence of what the woman was saying. In answering the woman, they were talking of absolute nonsense. How do you look? He said, this is the only country I've been in the world, maybe she's a diplomat, where nobody gets fined for overspeeding. How then do you intend to fund your budget? She's telling you that in many countries around the world, when you organize society and ensure that those who are supposed to pay their fine, they pay their fine. All right, it's not only taxes. People should not use taxes to cover every revenue of government. Government collects taxes, fines, fees, levies, duties, rents, and so many more different types of income sources. The problem we have is that the so-called big men, especially most of them are men, I'm sorry to say, they live with the mindset of early men. They're supposed to be living in caves as I'm talking to you. But they act as if they live in caves. They are the ones that have destroyed every institution in this country. They will bend every rule just to favor themselves and their girlfriends and their concubine and their family members and so on. They don't care if the system collapses, so long as they get their primitive ways. You know, it's because of those people.
But
that
all
we
those
cannot
big men you are
any
talking
of
about, those big men are in the National Assembly. And if the government, like Buhari, wants to even pass the budget, the National Assembly people could just collide together and say, okay, we are not even gathering in the first place. I mean, we are not going to sanction it, or we are not going to allow it, we are not going to pass it. So all the big people, they have already conquered the country. They have put the country under their claws so much that the country cannot even do anything. For you, even if you become a president, you will not be able to do anything. So do you think that democracy could really resolve our problem? Because with democracy, the people in the National Assembly, the president can do nothing if you cannot get them to give up their privileges. And how many of them will be willing to give up their privileges? Even when they stop being governors, they go into the National Assembly. They don't want to give up the privileges. How many of them will you arrest?
So, you know, I think at the end of the day, like they say, okay, there's no other, every system of government is bad, only democracy is the least bad. Even though I don't quite believe that. What they are practicing in China is a different kind of, is a different kind of democracy, you know, but they are getting their act together. And there's a way they do it single party, but everybody, you have to prove yourself before you are promoted to the higher level. And I think that is very important. We have to find a way of doing some of that with our youth. Let them prove themselves right from the beginning. We need our youth on the street, cleaning the street, tidying up the environment, beautifying the environment. The one that is a good artist should be drawing something nice.
Let me confirm what you are saying right now, and which I support, that that system in China, and I'm familiar with that system because they were using that system in Soviet Union here also, whereby they nominate people who have proved themselves in different areas of life. Let me give you an example. Somebody wrote me an email from the Nigerian government. And they said, you are from a certain state. I think you are from the same state as that, the lousy governor that just got re-elected. I mean, not re-elected, who just lost out.
Ekiti State.
Fashoye or something. Fayoshe.
Fayoshe, yeah.
Yes. So the person was writing me and said, look at the guy you are inviting, Tope Fasua. He couldn't even win his ward or his local government or something like that.
I'm not from that state. I'm not from that. Yeah. I'm not from that state. Yeah, I'm from Ondo State, which is a neighboring state. There hasn't been any. Wait, there hasn't been any.
But the point I'm making is that they are telling me that this guy just has internet followership. He just has what do you call it? Some mysterious, some online something. He doesn't have real power on ground. That we are talking about politics and politicians that have power on ground, and that is democracy. So they are trying to tell me that by the system of democracy, that you cannot galvanize, you cannot win an election. And that is the weakness of the system we are practicing. Because in our own country, it is not they who are winning on ground, it is money that is winning. It is how many people can distribute money in the world or local government that wins. And that is not democracy. So our system is counterproductive. So people like you, and I was telling the person that if that is the system we are practicing, whereby the best mind can never win, and the best mind can never get a chance at government to be able to contribute, then we're in trouble. That is not democracy. Democracy is supposed to give room for the best of men to come forward and render their service. And you are now boasting, telling me that the guy cannot win anything. That why should I waste my effort? I said, but listen to the guy. They say, well, it doesn't matter what they say. What matters is at the end of the day, how many people vote for you. Then we're in trouble because it is not, the people are not assessing his mind. I said, how many people in that local government can think? How many people in that local government can read his program? How many people don't care? People just get the rice and they get the beans and they get the money and go and vote for the person who has the money. But they are not thinking because our people are illiterate, 50% of them. And they cannot even make an informed decision. I don't know. So will democracy be able to, or what we practice in Nigeria called democracy, will it be able to land us in El Dorado?
No, well, you see, like you rightly said, the definition of an intellectual. An intellectual is not necessarily the person that has the PhD, but the person who can profile an idea and defend the idea, and can marshal his point to say, given this, and that, I believe in this idea, and that is how societies grow. And I would say, without patronizing you, you are a sound intellectual. You have given us what they've not written in the dictionary about what democracy should do. And as you were speaking, the same idea was occurring to me. Democracy is meant to ensure that the best of people float to the top. Otherwise, it's a monster kind of government that we're operating in this place. You can't call it democracy. Because a democracy that kills the best of intellect and kills the best of idea is a different kind of Neanderthal kind of a system of government that some people are deluding themselves in democracy. The best, again, let me quickly address that fact. I'm from Ondo State, I'm not from Ekiti State. It is true. I may not be popular in my local government, in my state, because I don't live in the state. It's just like someone saying now, Pastor Adelaja cannot win in Nigeria. But you don't have to live in Nigeria. Are your ideas sound enough? If your ideas are sound enough, if they were white, they should stop the Jekuje that they are eating, the Ajebanu that they are eating, the one that they think that they are sitting on top of the world, they are ridiculing themselves. and ridiculing the people of this country all over the place. And the wrath of God and the wrath of man is coming upon them, says the Lord. You know, enough already. All right? Nobody, you can't just say, oh, he cannot win his local government. We are not supposed to be thinking at that small level. The world is leaving this country behind. Even countries in Africa are leaving this country behind. Countries in Africa. Go to Rwanda, go to Kenya, go to Ghana, go to Cote d'Ivoire, go to Zambia, go to even Zimbabwe. In many parts, Zimbabwe is more organized than Nigeria. I've flown past the place before. I've touched down there. I've seen their streets before. You know, so and then they are there feeling like local champion because they had seen 1 billion naira. They quickly go and hide it, money that they can't even spend. It's a shame on them. We are here to change the game. We cannot win the game the way they are playing it right now. We can only change the game. And one of the things we're doing, the fact that many of us have stepped out now to say, listen, even what is the biggest work in the land? They say it's president. We say, okay, give us some of that. It's like walking into a bar. They say, what is the most expensive drink? You say, give me that drink. So they say, what is the most difficult work, the biggest work in Nigeria? They say, it's the work of president. We say, give us some of that. As youths, we are ready to do that work. They are afraid. We have stepped up to say we are ready to make that change. And we're going to proliferate the environment, proliferate the country with these ideas that we're bringing. I'm telling you, for example, now that I'm going to put the government under pressure to increase that their 8.9 trillion to 15 trillion. And they must go and look for where to fund that thing. And I'm bringing this idea from the private sector because a country must be run like a company at the end of the day. Pastor Sunday, if you are running a company, your manager cannot come and tell you that next year.
I think the line again is messing up. Okay, now I hear you now.
Yes, I say you can. If you are running a company, your manager cannot come and tell you that next year is going to make less money. You are going to ask him, Oga, why am I paying you to make less money? The government seems to forget. And they want us to be paying them the same more for months. It's not doable. So that's one of the ideas that I'm going to mainstream. And I'm bringing empirical evidence from around the continent. From Algeria, I'm telling you, why is Algeria budgeting 60 billion for its people? Who costs Nigeria? What costs Nigeria to the level that we cannot do more than 25 billion? Our per capita budget per person this year is $140. $140 is what the government of Nigeria plans to spend on each Nigerian, whether for health, whether for road, whether for education, whether for security, for whatever, including the salaries that they will pay themselves. $140 only. Next year, by the time you consider the inflation and the increase in population for next year, they are dropping that money from $140 to $117. When in South Africa, they are budgeting $2,600. In Angola, they are budgeting $1,400. In Algeria, they are budgeting $2,800. In Gabon, they are budgeting about $2,300 per person. The world is leaving this country behind. So we need to be saved from those backward-thinking people whose whole interest is all about perpetuating this mediocrity that they call governance, this underachieving attitude that they call governance in this country. It is enough already. The humanity of the people of this country is being degraded and devalued on a daily basis.
How can people get? Our time is up, unfortunately, Mr. Tope Fasua. How can people get in touch with you? Do we have his contact? How can people get in touch with you? Because I'm sure people would like to, get in touch with you one way or the other.
Would like to get in touch with you. Can you hear the revenue?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay, yes. Okay. First of all, to get in touch with me, well, my phone number is +234 8033 110 760 +234 80, and send me an email, topsyfash@yahoo.com.
What's the email again? What's the email again?
Topsyfash, TOPSY fash@yahoo.com. Tango, Orange, Papa, Syria, Yankee, Foxtrot, Alpha, Syria, Hotel.
And what's the telephone number again, please?
@yahoo.com. My phone number +234 8033 110 760.
Well, it's been very engaging talking to you, and
Let me quickly make a point, sir.
Yes, please.
Pastor, let me make this as my final point, that in terms of thinking about revenue, there are different ways to do it. Number one, we can say that Nigeria has about 540 different government agencies. 540. Each of these agencies are set up, most of them, at least 80% of them, are set up to be generating revenue for Nigeria. However, they don't generate any revenue, and the few that generate revenue, they generate the money and they spend the money. We say that every CEO, all of the CEOs of all of these agencies of government should be given targets. Before you take the job, they say, okay, how much are we getting from your agency? That is going to tie their hands. Luckily, there's what they call TSA now, Treasury Single Account, into which most people pay the money is going to government, but the expenditure aspect has not been tidied up.
But
properly.
you must give credit to that same finance minister that just went for implementing it, because Jonathan tried it, they couldn't implement it, and even but she was able to implement it.
The credit belongs actually to Buhari for giving. And look, I'm one person, I will give credit where credit is due. It's because Buhari gave her the backing. Otherwise, the monsters in the system will come.
But for some reason, Jonathan couldn't do it.
Because Jonathan doesn't know how to assert himself. But it's good. Look, we have to give credit to who is due. Buhari has been able to do that. However, two things. There are still losses in the system. There are still monies that are escaping that system. Number two, the expenditure aspect has not been tidied up. The way we understand budget in Nigeria, the way they do government budget in Nigeria, you are sitting in your office as the DG or as the minister, they come and meet you and say, oh God, what are we going to buy next year? No, it should not be done like that. So people now begin to dream of all sorts of things. Let's build a new house next year. Let's buy 20 new cars next year. No, if you don't have to buy, don't buy. Let the money accrue to the government.
No, but even up to now, I think we only perform on that. Is it that less than 40% performance, budget performance, right?
When they talk of that one, they're talking about the capital aspect of the budget.
The capital, yes.
Right now, this year, the government has not released any 1 naira for capital, according to what we hear from the civil service. They have not released money for capital at all. That is how you begin to fail. However, let me also make this point that many people don't like to make. It is not compulsory that every year you must be budgeting capital and capital and capital. In this country, we can lock down this country and say for the next 5 years, we want to maintain that which we have built. Almost all our roads are craters now. Most of our public agencies and public institutions are in different states of disrepair. You come to a Nigeria airport, Murtala Mohammed Airport, the roof is leaking as we speak. The toilets are not well taken care of. We need to, first of all, address our minds to what we have before we start saying we want to build different monstrosities. We needn't say we want to do capital. There's nothing wrong in recurrent budget so long as it is diverted towards maintenance. And we need to build that maintenance culture. It's a mental thing. It's another behavioral thing that we have to do. I mentioned here before, in India, what they are doing, and India is actually the fastest growing major economy in the world. For the past 10 years, go and study Indian economy, sir. I'm sure you have. And what this guy is doing, Narendra Modi, he channeled the efforts of the Indian people towards sanitation. And right now, they decided that they're going to build 75 million new toilets in India. And these toilets are in all the rural areas. He did not borrow 1 naira for that. He got the Indian people to sell their trinket, to sell their gold, and invest it in building a toilet for themselves. Because before now, a lot of the women, they have to wait till night before they go inside the bush to even go and urinate. And many times people will stay there and rape them there. So Bill Gates went to India and he said that this is the biggest behavioral change project in modern history. The same time, Bill Gates came to Nigeria afterward and told our people here that they should go and develop their human capital. That is, India is transforming as we speak. In fact, last week it was also released that The first experiment in poverty eradication took place in China. The second one is taking place in India. Nigeria has the opportunity to be the third one that will make this change, but we're not taking that opportunity. So I must go and say that, look, another way of looking at, apart from giving targets and responsibility to the leader of every MD.
Wow. How? Yeah, we're here now. We hear you now.
Let me just round up. Apart from doing that, the other way to look at revenue generation is to look at the different sectors. So we've talked extensively about oil sector. Then you look at the banking and finance sector and look at how much can we get from that area in terms of taxes, in terms of rate, then mineral sector. Okay, are you there?
Yep, we're hearing you now.
Great. You look at solid mineral sector as well, which was going through some development but may have stalled because Fahimi went to become governor in Ekiti. You look at tourism sector, you look at sports sector, you look at industry, you look at other sectors of the economy. That's how to look at it's a major plan. I think the problem we have is that we have wasted, tired people drawing up our budgets, and I think they need to clear off because those people cannot dream anymore. They are fat. All right, they have a fed fat, and they cannot think beyond their present, circumstance of slush funds anymore, and they need to give way.
I think one thing you need to, I want to challenge you to think about is the system is our own structure of government. Like I like most of this European structure of government better. The structure of government that includes prime minister, the structure of government that includes, different vice prime ministers. And in that kind of where the president is more ceremonial kind of president. But in America, we are copying the American system. But the reason why American system is like that is because the government in America they don't push the economy. They don't generate the income for the economy. It is the American government, they just manage the economy and supervise the economy because it is almost totally entrepreneurial economy in America. It is driven by the populace. But in Europe, where it is more socialist oriented, you will see you will need government where the prime minister needs to generate the economy. I mean, they need to grow the economy. They need to generate the income. Prime minister, vice prime minister, all those ministers, the structure of government in Europe is more like ministers looking for revenue, looking for interest, looking for income, unlike the American one that we are practicing. But the problem with Nigeria is that our people are not yet developed enough and they are not yet empowered enough to be able to drive the economy. Right now, all those ministers, you tell me one minister in government or two ministers, two names that are working round the clock just to generate income and grow the economy. No, at most what we are doing is spending money. Look at the minister of power, just how to spend money. Minister for road, how to spend money. Minister for transport, how to spend money. Minister for this, almost everything is how to spend. Even minister for economy and finance is how to spend money. So who is going to generate? That's why I am more in for a prime minister kind of system whereby he is only there to think of how to grow and build the national economy. I don't know what you think about that kind of perspective.
We used to have that kind of system. Someone made a comment today and said we're always getting carried away with fads. There was a time we killed that system and we went and imported the American system. We said at that time that the president is what we need, a full president like the America. So that the person will be the one to take charge of the entire economy, because the case of prime minister, they were a bit too loyal to their parties. But we can see where it has taken us. It hasn't taken us anywhere fast.
You want to tell me that Buhari is dealing with economy? He's in charge of economy? Of course not. Not Buhari, not Jonathan. They don't do anything economical. They are only dealing with politics. Those presidents, even in America, the American president is not dealing with economy. He's only dealing with politics.
You're right. Even though what I believe is that the big problem we have, just like in any other area, I keep saying, Now, Nigeria's problem is telling us one thing and one thing only right now. And what Nigeria's problem is telling us right now is that you have to do it yourself. We will have to solve this problem ourselves. For as long as we believe that solution to our power problem will come from abroad, we're finished. Solution to our petroleum sector will come, or educational sector will come from abroad, we are finished. Now is the time to think for ourselves. We have tried Prime Minister before. They seen it under Obasanjo in 1979. We went the American way when we know we are not American. We don't have even the money to run America. I would actually even want to counter you and say that the president of America, Americans, they are very cunning people. They generate their own money. I remember, look, all over the world, when Ali Button came to Nigeria and did fraud and did bribery, American government was slamming them how many $100 million. When Standard Chartered, the other time they said Standard Chartered was dealing with Iranians in this thing, they slammed them $300 million. The Americans know how to create a lot of things around the world, and they're making serious money. And then they now use it to finance their businesses, to go and sell different things. And of course, one of the biggest industry they have is the arms industry, you know, apart from the petroleum sector that they have, apart from the financial sector that has a finger in every pie in town. So you see, but the point is that Nigeria, we still don't have leaders that are responsible to the country and to the people of this country. And I think that's where the problem is. But we have to keep engaging and keep experimenting with different ideas. But we haven't started to narrow those ideas towards the things that actually really matter and work for us. You know, we haven't started taking charge of our own reality. Nigeria is living other people's reality. We are living other people's dream. The dream that we're living right now is not our dream. We did not say this is what we want to be. Like they say, if you don't know where you are going, somebody else will take you to where they want you to go. And that's the scenario with Nigeria right now.
Mr. Tope Fasua, you have done so well. It's done so well, and I appreciate you. And I want to thank you for coming again. I'm going to also invite Showore to come back, and I'm going to invite Mogalu to come back. Those are the three people that I see that, you know, can really contribute to the new Nigeria we want to build. Thank you so very much, Mr. Fasua. You've done so very well, and I'm sure that many people will engage you after this. Thank you so much for your time. Blessings. Bye.